Hi, love Dr. Nikki from www.oranum.com. How y'all doing this morning, afternoon, or evening? I thought I'd make a small tape here to let people know about the tarot. It's one of the primary tools used by a lot of readers, and I thought I'd put together a little video to help you understand tarot just a little bit more. Now, a brief history of the tarot. Tarot's actually been around for a long time. No, it didn't come from Egypt with the Rom. No, it didn't start in prehistory. Actually, the tarot started as a game called Tarocchi in 15th century Italy, at a time when the people in the nobility were evacuating the towns essentially because the plague and other nasty diseases would come in the summertime. The nobility would leave town essentially and go to their summer villas and spend the time relaxing in very mundane pursuits, and cards was one of them. Now, Tarocchi is still a game you can find the instructions to play on the internet today. It's actually kind of a fun card game. But what I'll be talking about today is the tarot and how it's used for a self-introspection device, and how it's used to look and see what's coming up for you. Now, the oldest deck in existence is called the Visconti Sforza deck, and this is a reproduction card from the deck. As you can see, the cards are huge, and these are actual size cards that were used back in the original size. Now, here's a standard size tarot deck of the same card. They're both the star, and you can see that actually a lot of symbology carries through from one to the other. Both women are handling and pouring water. Both women are standing on their own. Both women are alone. So both of these cards, even though they are literally over 500 years difference from when they were drawn, still carry a lot of the same symbology. And that's really basically how tarot works. Now, tarot does also have numerous variations on the theme, and some of those variations include things like your angel cards. They're beautiful cards, but actually they're based on tarot. And there's also gypsy cards. Now, gypsy cards are different from tarot in that gypsy cards each have a word on the top of them. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but this one is waiting. And you use the words to help find the energies to read what's coming up for someone. Now, another type of oracle card that I have is the Celtic Oracle. And the Celtic Oracle, again, is based on having specific words written onto them. I'm trying to find a good one here. Here we go. Here's the second card in the grouping, and this one is Imbolc, which is one of the pagan festival days. So all these different cards really have their base in tarot. Now, one of my favorite decks to use right now is the Cairo Marchetti Tarot of the Dreams deck, which is the one that I showed, the smaller card that showed you the star. And so there are a lot of different cards that are based on tarot. It's been around for a long time. It became very prominent in the Victorian era when spirituality received almost a renaissance. Now, there's some basics to tarot, and they're pretty easy. There's three basic things to tarot. That is the question the querent asks, the cards that are laid, and the spread or the position the cards are laid in. Now, if you ask a question about business, and I'm doing like a past, present, future on your cards, and I get like a Nine of Cups in the future, and that's about your business, I'd have to say that the Nine of Cups doesn't relate to romance. It relates to your love of business. And that's where your tarot reader comes in as interpreting the cards to give you the message the cards actually hold for you. Now, the cards, there are literally thousands of tarot decks. I have over 50 that I collect them, and I have over 50. And I have found that from one deck to another, the meanings may differ a little bit between the individual cards, but the reading doesn't. You still get the same message no matter which deck you use, because it's the message that comes through, not the individual cards. Now, another way to look at the tarot deck is to look at each individual card, but we're not going to have time to do that today, but I will be doing more videos with more in-depth knowledge about the individual cards. Today we're just going to go over the basics and how the basic tarot deck is broken down. Tarot is broken down into two basic sets. You have the major arcana, which is 22 cards. And those 22 cards are like the Fool, the Emperor, the Empress, the High Priest, the Hierophant, the Star, the World, the Sun. Those cards are considered the major arcana. Some readers refer to those as the cards of destiny, or they refer to them as the prime cards, because the major arcana cards carry higher or heavier duty messages. If you're going to get a very strong karmic message, it's probably going to come through one of the major arcana cards. There's also the minor arcana. And the minor arcana cards deal primarily with life, especially the numeral cards of Ace through 10. They deal with different facets of life, different steps in life, and some of the basic things that all of us deal with in one way or another throughout our lives. And then you also have what they call the court cards, the page, the knight, the queen, and the king. Now the court cards are normally expected to give an indication of what a person would look like or be like. For example, when a tarot reader tells you that a very important man, tall, dark, and handsome, stable, steady, and already self-made, she's talking about probably the King of Pentacles, who's a dark-haired man with dark eyes, usually represented. So there's a lot of different things that we look at in the tarot and a lot of different meanings that we give to the cards. And again, I'll be making another video on the different cards later. The different decks are amazing. They can be as wide-ranged as, this is a healing deck. It's the cards of well-being, and it literally has pictures of crystals on each card. And then you have a standard tarot deck. Here's another one of Marchetti's decks. This is the Gilded Tarot. So the tarot cards can be in a wide variety, and each deck usually comes with its own booklet to explain what it is. Now, another thing that we talked about being one of the prime things in a tarot reading was the question. And the question is very, very important on a tarot reading. If you're looking to find out something specific, I wouldn't recommend popping into a tarot reader and saying, whatever you can see about me, whatever the cards have to say. Those are great if you want just general overall. But if you're looking for specific things, you should ask about them. Now, it's probably not the best way to phrase the question, do so-and-so and I have a future? That's kind of a yes-no question. But another way to rephrase that same question to make it more appropriate for a tarot reading would be, what are the energies around so-and-so and I having a relationship? See how that opens it up to a whole bunch more possibilities? Yes and no are opposite ends of a spectrum. In that spectrum, there's all sorts of different aspects that can be brought out. So when you're asking your question, be careful about the phrasing. It can make a big difference in the answer you get. And of course, always, if you're getting a tarot reading, don't be afraid to ask your tarot reader what type of question or the best way to phrase the question. Okay? Because most readers are more than happy to help you phrase the question that's going to get you an answer that's going to answer what you really want to know. And that brings us to another thing, trust. Without trust in your tarot reader, there's really not going to be much information passed between you and they. It is, like at www.oranum.com, you have the option of visiting with any of up to 2,400, maybe even a few more now, readers that are listed on the site. You can go into their private chat room or their free chat rooms and talk to them for a couple minutes, get to know them a little bit, ask what their reading philosophy is and those types of things, so that you have an idea of who your reader is before you're laying money down on the line to get a reading. Now, tarot readers really don't want to work with you unless you really want to work with them. It's difficult for as a tarot reader, it's difficult to read someone who is hostile. We do our best, and sometimes you're nicely hostile. You don't want to flavor the reading, or you don't want to predispose. And a professional tarot reader already knows how to pull that back and separate your personal emotions from what the real energies of the reading. Now, when you approach your reading, you really should approach it with a teamwork aspect. A lot of readers like to have kind of a conversation with their client. Other readers like to tell what they have to say and then let their client ask questions or confirmation afterwards. Always ask your reader how they like to conduct their readings. Usually you'll get the best reading if you let the reader conduct the reading they're most comfortable with. Now at ORANUM, www.oranum.com, you have some of the best readers possible, including me. Oh, by the way, the dress in the background, and October 27th of 2012, I had the absolute honor of reading cards for A-list personalities at the Just Jared party in West Hollywood, California at Siren Studios. I read for, oh gosh, I think it was like over a dozen A-list personalities that night, and that's the costume I wore. It was a lot of fun, absolutely. So I hope you'll stop by www.oranum.com. I'm Love Dr. Nikki, one of their top psychics, and I really hope you'll stop by. Chat with me in free chat, ask questions, find out what you can about tarot, and then we can go into private from there. I hope you have a great day and stop by and see us. This is Love Dr. Nikki, and next video will be about the major arcana and what they mean. Have a great day.